Thank you. I thought this is the one chance you guys can say it as much as you want. No one's. All right. Kid number 2 born. All right. She conceived again and bore a daughter. And the Lord. Guess who's getting picked on? All right. She conceived again and bore a daughter, and the Lord said to him, "Call her name No Mercy, for I will no more have mercy on the house of Israel to forgive them at all." Again, read scripture, feel good? Nah. Right, so we got one kid born, right? And now we have a little bit of understanding on this whole naming thing, why people or why God chooses and assigns someone a name. Child 2 is born, and this child, the actual name, and I'm going to try to pronounce it in the Hebrew, is Lo Ruama. Lo Ruama. That's the name that some of you guys might have in your Bible. I don't know, the ones that we have, I think it's always already translated, right? To No Mercy. We have translated in English to No Mercy, and the Hebrew probably better translates it. It's a better translation in Hebrew as not pity or not love. And when you think about the idea behind mercy, mercy is essentially pitying someone you love. I mean, that's it. It's like Joao, for example. He loves when I point him out because then he'll be like, "Why'd you use me in your sermon?" Joao is someone that challenges my mercy on a regular basis. And what happens is he does something, my reaction is choke him, and then I automatically think, I love him, I better have pity on him. See how it works? Hence mercy. So then it's like, all right, I'm not going to choke him. Or you. So that's essentially what this means. Now think about it. God is telling Hosea, have the second child, and the second child is going to be literally named No Mercy. Because I will have no mercy on this bigger picture, this house of Israel, to forgive them at all. That's a huge, 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 huge indictment. God in the past, in other aspects of the Old Testament, has said some things that are just brutally painful. I mean, at one point he says that he wishes he never created these people and despises them. He doesn't like them. These are his chosen people. And in one aspect, think of it this way. If God looks at his chosen people and says, I wish I didn't create them, I don't want to have mercy on them, I don't want to forgive them. Remember, chosen people? That doesn't bode well for us. Think of if I have 7 children. If I'm cruel and mean to my favorite, poor Adao. How is it going to happen? What's going to happen to him? But you know what I'm saying? Is, I mean, imagine if you're just a horrible, if you treat the one that you like the best terribly, how are you going to treat the one that you don't like, the one that you don't care for? And so here we have God saying this. It's just such a painful reminder to the nation of Israel, where they are, where they've come from. I think so much of this has been just a historical thing that happens over and over and over again. People are rebellious. They turn away from God. We instinctively want to turn away from God. That's, even in our best times, we still struggle with following God. Now, throw on prosperity, throw on wealth, throw on success, throw on just an easy life. Things are going really well. You're not going to turn to God even more. You're going to turn to him even less. And this is what's going on. Remember, Israel is in the height of one of their most prosperous times in history. And their behavior is one of rebellion. They are turning away from God instead of turning to God. So God literally says, name this child No Mercy, because I will not have mercy on these people anymore, and I will not forgive them again. Or I don't want to forgive them again. And God is literally looking back, and he's trying to make a point to them. He's saying that I have offered you myself 1,000,000 times, and you continuously turn away from it. You reject the offer. You keep declining the offer. You want nothing to do with it. You're so wrapped up with, you're so tied to yourselves, because being my chosen people doesn't just simply mean you get this special honor with no responsibility. And that's one of the biggest challenges that we face, and one of the hardest things that we face is being children of God comes with responsibility. It comes with obligations. Otherwise, all we're doing is taking advantage of grace. And then it's not real. And God is over and over and over again saying to these people in Israel, I keep giving you, I put you first, and you keep rejecting me. You keep turning away from me. And I'm not going to have it anymore. I'm done. No mercy for you guys. Just imagine that. I mean, literally imagine the one. I heard one person one time, one of my professors told me, we have such a difficult time explaining this concept of salvation. It's so hard because there's so much to it, and yet we try to simplify it. And he goes, you know what it means to me? It literally means throwing yourself at the mercy of God. Yes. Now imagine that in light of salvation. If I could just in one phrase sum it up that simply and just go, it is throwing myself at the mercy of God, and God saying, no mercy. I don't forgive you. That's what's going on with Israel right now. This is huge. And poor Hosea is the one that's got to deliver this message to the people, and his family is the example of this message. So it's literally like God's going, you're not loved, you're not pitied, there's no mercy for you. Verse 7. Interesting. It says, but I will have mercy on the house of Judah, and I will save them by their Lord their God. I will not save them by bow, or by sword, or by war, or by horses, or by horsemen. Okay. Now, one of the big disadvantages that we are at, and we will always be at, is that, one, we don't know the Hebrew language. We don't live in the culture. So it's a challenge for us to look at a verse like this, especially in light of the previous verse, and go, what in the world is God talking about? Because he just told me there's no mercy for me. But then he goes, yeah, but house of Judah, saved, done, don't worry about it. So there's that, how does God go from one hand to hand and goes, Israel, nope, you're done, no mercy, no love, no pity, but Judah, I'm going to save you. And I think that we can look at this two different ways. And I hope that I'm able to really make this really speak to you guys and come to life. I think a very applicable application to this is, have you guys ever been in church like you are today? Except this is different because this is weird. We took a break. Have you ever been in church and you heard someone else say this? And I've heard this a bunch of times and it cracks me up every time. You know what? These people really need to hear this message. Have you ever heard that? Someone will come up, like for example, to the pastor and go, Pastor, I am so grateful you said that message, because there are at least a dozen people that need to hear this. Now, could you imagine? I'm so thankful that no one's ever done that to me, because I would really look at them and be like, really? Everyone else, just not you. You're the only person exempt from hearing this message. That is fantastic, and that's incredible. Because when I'm giving a sermon, I need to hear the same message. It's not like I'm like, this is only for you guys. I'm sitting there are times where I'm like, oh man, that's me. Oh boy. But it's in that, I want to say it's in that frame where Israel is sitting there going, you tell them, God. Yeah. You tell those people. And God's like, no, you don't understand. The message is for you. Judah's the one who's actually responding to it. The message is for all of us. So, a couple things that I've warned some of the people in the core group is, you'll hear these crazy things that people say after they hear a sermon is, well, you know what? That pastor really didn't challenge me. I need to go to a church where the pastor is more educated, a better speaker. Like, I'm preaching out the Bible. I mean, what are you talking about? How are you going to get any more challenge? It's actual. I don't have a better illustration, little story to tell. Joelle's one of my illustrations. There's no better story than that. But you hear that and you sit there and you kind of go, really? This isn't a problem with the message. The problem's with your heart. Because the moment you think that a message doesn't apply to you, you become Israel. And the remainder of the church is Judah going, we want the mercy. Give it to us. Condemn us, God, so that you can forgive us. Give us this. Tell us how wrong we are. Tell us how we failed you. Because we want to know so that we can ask for your forgiveness. Now, I think there's one aspect where I think we can just take this message here that's going on in verse 7 to apply to us. But the other one, and I think it's very clear, is what's significant about Judah?
David and Jesus.
Absolutely. The house of Judah, the line of David, is going to eventually provide Christ, the Messiah. And how does Christ redeem and save and deliver? Was it by bow or sword or horse or horseman? That's what they were looking for, weren't they? They were looking for a military/political leader to come and save them from Roman oppression. And Christ shows up, and he literally says, no, that's not how it's going to work. That's what you guys want, but that's not what me and my Father have in store for you guys. What's going to happen is I'm going to deal with this, and you guys are going to be forgiven, and you guys are going to be saved, and you guys are going to be set apart. But it's not going to happen with this great, unbelievable war. So I think that God is saying that you are going to have the opportunity to experience this saving grace, this salvation, but it's not going to come the way you want it. It is going to come through this line of Judah, which we know is going to eventually produce Jesus. I think very, very, very simple way to look at that and take it in. So now we have verse 8. When she had weaned no mercy, she conceived and bore a son. And the Lord said, call his name, not my people, for you are not my people, and I am not your God. What a horrible picture that God is literally saying, you know what? You guys are not my people. And worse than that, I'm not your God. That's the state that Israel has fallen into. That is the state that we have fallen into. That is where we're at. We are literally on par with Israel as we go on in our lives. If you think differently, you're absolutely wrong. You're falling under the same trap that Israel did. Israel thought they don't need God, that they can get by. Things are going great. You know what? Even now, today, in this, I find it very humorous that we're in a recession. You know, I mean, how many people, does anyone sit there and say that they're part of this recession? Be honest. Who says it? You liars. You guys don't say right now that you're part of the recession that's going on in the U.S.? The economy is suffering and hurting? None of you guys? Well, we'll see. Tithing's coming up. I'm recession. But if you have food, and you have clothes, and you have someplace to keep yourself dry and warm, do you have any idea how blessed you are? I'm talking 99% of the world looks at us and poor Americans and goes, wow, look how wealthy they are. And the better things are here, the more we turn away from God. And don't kid yourselves. Just look around. I mean, there was a time in the U.S. where churches were full every Sunday. And even the biggest churches struggle to fill their seats today. They struggle to pay bills. They struggle to just get through the month. And there are numerous churches that are closing. We are relying on ourselves, on our prosperity, and not on what God does for us, not on how He saved us, not on how He set us apart. And what we don't want to have happen is verse 8. We don't want God to say, you know what, you're not my people. And more importantly than that, I'm not your God. So, this is the third child, the son, and his Hebrew name is Lo-Ami. Now, I don't know if you guys were able to put it together, but the last child was named Ruhama. You know what Lo means? No. Yeah. And it's literally